Hello viewers, welcome to this video. Now in this video I'm going to take you through unit conversion using the metric prefix system. On the other side there I've picked a few prefixes and there are multiples. So these are not all we have in terms of prefixes. We have a lot of them, but I've just picked these in order to help us in this video. Converting using prefixes is very simple. Using the metric system, prefix system is very simple as long as you know how to go through a few steps. So I'm going to show you how to do that in this video, and by the end of it, you all know how to convert from one unit to another. So let's start by an example, our first example. Let's say we are given 20 kilometers. And we are told to convert these 20 kilometers to centimeters. How do we do that? Now, it's very simple. Always the first step is start writing what you are given. So in this case, we are given 20 kilometers and we are converting it to centimeters. So we'll start by writing 20 kilometers. After that, we are going to put our multiplication sign to introduce a conversion factor. So that's the first step that we always need to do. Write what you are given and introduce a conversion factor. Now, on this side here, look at the unit that you are given here and then you check which unit you are looking for. So in this case, we are from kilometers going to centimeters. So those are the units that we are going to have here. One will be on top and one will be down. How do we know that this one must be on top, this one must be down? Now, the unit you want to get rid of should be set in a way that it will cancel with the other unit that you have. For example, we have kilometer here and we want to get rid of kilometer and remain with centimeters. So we're going to put our kilometer here so that it can cancel with this kilometer, and then our centimeter will be on top so that it can remain. If we put centimeter down here and kilometer on top, this kilometer and that kilometer we're going to put on top are going to multiply and they're not going to cancel. But in this format, this is down, this is up, these two will cancel and our unit of interest will remain, which is centimeters. So that's another step. From there, all you have to do is check between the units you are given. Which one is a bigger unit? Compare the two units. So in this case, we have kilometers and centimeters. Which one is bigger between kilometer and centimeter? Now, you can check that from the prefixes you have. The kilo is 10 to the power of 3 and cent is 10 to minus 2. Now, on the powers, you can see this is minus 2, this is 3. 3 is greater than minus 2. Therefore, kilo is greater than cent. After finding out which one is greater between those units you are dealing with, it means now your job is almost done. All you have to do is put a 1 on the greater unit. In this case, kilometer is the greater one. So we'll put a 1 on kilo and then you put a 10 on the smaller unit. In this case, cent is smaller, so we're going to put 10 on the smaller unit. Now, this 10 must have a power. This 10 that we are putting on the smaller unit must have a power. How do we get that power that we need to put there? Very simple. All you have to do is look at the multiples for the units you are looking at. In this case, kilo and cent. Kilo is 10 to the 3, cent is 10 to minus 2. All you have to do to get the power there is say between the powers you have, the greater power or the bigger power minus the smaller power. In this case, 3 is greater than minus 2, so we'll say 3 minus 2. You are subtracting the smaller power from the bigger power. In this case, 3 minus 2 will give us 3 plus 2, and this will just give us a 5. This implies to say the power that we need to put there is a 5. So we introduce our power there. After doing that, is job done. All you have to do is do simple mathematics now. You have this unit is cancelling with that one. You have 20 multiplied by 10 to the 5 centimeters divided by 1. So you have 20 multiplied by 10 to the power of 5 centimeters divided by 1. So when you divide this 10 to the 5 divided by 1, it will still give you 10 to the 5. So this will basically be our answer. But then this will still be correct, but it's more correct when you put it to the standard scientific notation, which is the decimal point, or rather, the point must be in between the last two digits. In this case, the point is somewhere here, and we don't want it to be there. We want it to be in between these two digits. So we're going to say we're moving it from here. It will go in between there, and it will be 2.0 multiplied by. Now, when you're moving your decimal place or decimal point from the right to the left, your power increases. So this will be multiplied by 10 to the power of 6 centimeters. Any number you write, for example, if I write 1 here, we assume to say we have a decimal point there, but it's not just shown. If I write 20 here, I'm assuming to say I have a decimal point there. It's just not shown. This is why we are saying we have it here. It's not just shown. In order for us to write it in a very standard scientific notation, it needs to be in between the last digits. So the first digits we have is 2 and 0. So in between those first digits, it means we have it in standard scientific notation. So when you move it once there, our power will also increase by 1. That's why we have our final answer to be 2.0 times 10 to the 6 centimeters. So that's how simple it is. Let's have another example. All right. So in this case, let's say we have 2.6 micrometers that we need to convert to millimeters. Yes, we're converting 2.6 micrometers to millimeters. As usual, we need to start with what we are given. We have 2.6 micrometers, and we introduce our conversion there. In this conversion, we look at the units we have. We have millimeter and micrometer, and then what we want to get rid of is micro. We want to remain with millimeter. So what we put down here must cancel with this, and we'll have it there so that it can cancel, and we'll have our millimeter on top there. Again, we go to our multiples. Only say milli, we not say we mean 10 to minus 3, and when we say micro, we mean 10 to minus 6. You can check it there, but you need to know this in your head, because mostly they won't give you this in an exam. If you are given to convert, you need to know them. So we have 10 to minus 3 and 10 to minus 6. Again, between micro and milli, we can see milli has minus 3 and micro has minus 6. Between the two, minus 3 is bigger and minus 6 is the smaller one. So micro is smaller than milli. That implies to say we put a 1 on the bigger unit, which is milli. So we'll put a 1 there and put a 10 on the smaller unit. So we put a 10 on the smaller unit. Now, again, this 10 is not going to be alone like this. It needs to be given to a certain power. And that power is gotten by saying the higher power minus the lower power or the smaller power, comparing the multiples we are given for the units you are converting. So in this case, we'll say we have minus 3 minus 6 in that case, and then we'll have minus 3 plus 6, which will basically give us a 3. So this implies to say the power that we have here is 3. So we'll put it. When you read this stage, that and that will go, what we have here is 2.6 times 10, 2.6 multiplied by 1, then divided by 10 to the 3. When we do mathematics here, this will give us 2.6 times 10 to minus 3. And our unit here will be millimeter. So this will be our answer. What this means here is you have 2, you multiply 2.6 by 1, you have 2.6 millimeters in that unit is there. Then this will be divided by 10 to the 3 is like 1 times 10 to the power of 3. 1 times 10 to the power of 3. When you punch your calculator here, you find that the answer you're going to get is 2.6 times 10 to the minus 3. So that's how simple it is to convert between units using the prefixes and their multiples. Let's have our last example. Let's have our last example. Let's say we have 60 mega grams, and then we need to convert this to grams. Or rather, instead of grams, let's put it as kilograms. So 60 mega grams to kilograms. Very simple again, we always start with what we are given, or have 60 megagrams multiplied by, we put our conversion. In this case, we need to cancel the mega, so we put it there, and then we'll have our kg on top there. We get our multiples again. Kilo is 10 to the power of 3, and then mega is 10 to the power of 6. We can see 6 is greater than 3, so we'll have a 1 on this unit here, and we'll have a 10 there. To get the power, we need to give to 10, we'll say the higher unit, which is 6, minus 3, and this will just give us a 3, like that. So this implies to say the power that we have there is 3. Mega and mega will go, our answer will be 60 multiplied by 10 to the power of 3 kgs. Again, to write it in standard scientific notation, we'll say this is 6.0 when we move our point times 10 to the power of 4 kgs. So this will be our final answer for that one. Now, you may be wondering if we said maybe we're changing from 60 megagrams to grams instead of kilograms. Let's try to do that so that I show you the prefix we're going to use for grams. So this is how it is done. We'll have 60 multiplied by, here we are saying we are now changing it to grams instead of kilograms. So 60 will have our mg here, and we'll have our grams on top there. And then all we have to do is pick our multiples again. Mega is 10 to the 6, and grams has a 10 to the power of 0. So the multiple for gram is 10 to the power of 0 in this case, and megagram is 10 to the 6. So this is greater than this. We'll say we have a 1 there, we'll have a 10 there, and the power will come from what we have here. Again, the higher power, which is 6 minus 0, this will just give us a 6, and the power we're going to have there is a 6. This implies to say we have 60 times 10 when this and that goes to the power of 6 grams. Again, we can write it as 6.0 times 10 to the power of 7 grams. This will be our 60 megagrams to grams, which is 6.0 times 10 to the power of 7. So this is how simple it is. If you found this video to be helpful, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to turn on the bell so that every time we upload a video, you'll be notified, say there's a new video this side, and you'll come and watch it. Thank you so much.